I just received word from my childhood friend Jamie that I should keep an eye on both my fiancé, Sean, and one of my bridesmaids, Rose. I remained silent at the moment because I needed time to comprehend the knowledge. It was mentioned so casually, as though we were discussing a movie plot. Hello, I'm Truly, and welcome to my channel. Thank you for listening, and I am curious, where and what time are you hearing this story? Please, let me know where you are hearing this in the comments below. Lastly, for more stories, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. The ceramic mug, still warm in my hands, suddenly felt like a block of ice. Across the small, rustic table in our favorite coffee shop, Jamie was regarding me with an uncanny calm, a faint, almost imperceptible smirk playing on her lips. The words "keep an eye on both Sean and Rose" hung in the air between us, as casual and light as the steam rising from my forgotten latte. My mind, however, had gone completely blank, a pristine white canvas waiting for the brushstroke of comprehension that refused to come. Jamie, my childhood friend, the one who'd known me through scraped knees and first crushes, through bad perms and worse boyfriends, had just delivered a bombshell wrapped in a throwaway comment. It was as if she'd suggested I try the new oat milk special. Not that my fiancé, the man I was marrying in 6 weeks, was potentially betraying me with one of my bridesmaids, his own first cousin no less. My voice, when it finally emerged, was a strained whisper. What did you just say?" Jamie leaned back, her fiery red curls catching the sunlight streaming through the window. Jamie had always been vibrant, a whirlwind of opinions and passion, and her dislike for Rose had been a constant hum in the background of our lives for as long as I could remember. It wasn't a secret. It was practically a personality trait. Rose herself, with her quiet smiles and unassuming nature, seemed to glide through life oblivious to the force of Jamie's animosity, which Jamie usually expressed in eye rolls and muttered asides about Rose's fake sweetness or manipulative quietness. I'd always dismissed it as a residual, inexplicable high school grudge. Perhaps Rose had once dated a boy Jamie liked, or won a competition Jamie felt she deserved. Whatever the root, it had never felt like anything more than petty animosity, easily compartmentalized. Until now. "You heard me, Irene," Jamie said, her tone still infuriatingly even. "Just a friendly heads up." A heads up? The words were ice shards in my throat. "Jamie, you can't just drop something like that and expect me to nod along. What are you talking about?" Her smirk broadened slightly, transforming into something colder, almost triumphant. "Just watch them. That's all I'm saying. You might be surprised by what you see when you're actually looking." My heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic bird trying to escape its cage. Sean, my Sean. Kind, steady, reliable Sean, with his crooked smile and his way of making me feel like the only person in the room. We'd been together for 5 years. 5 years of shared dreams, of building a life, of planning a future that now seemed to crumble like dry earth at Jamie's casual pronouncement. And Rose, sweet, unassuming Rose, who'd been so genuinely thrilled to be a bridesmaid, who'd helped me pick out stationery and spent hours with me poring over flower arrangements. The idea of them together felt like a grotesque, feverish dream. It was absurd. It was impossible. Yet, a tiny, insidious seed of doubt had been planted. Jamie, for all her dramatics, wasn't prone to outright fabrication. She was intensely loyal, fiercely protective of those she loved, and that included me. If she was saying this, then she believed it. And the fact that she was willing to risk our friendship, to cast such a shadow over my wedding, meant she must be convinced. "Jamie," I began, my voice trembling, "you need to tell me everything. Right now." She sighed, a theatrical puff of air. "I don't have everything, Irene, just observations, little things, glances, whispers. The way they gravitate towards each other at family gatherings, even when Sean's family is huge. The way Rose used to subtly ask about Sean before you two were even official, back when she was just Cousin Rose. The way Sean defended her that time at Aunt Carol's Christmas dinner when Uncle Barry made that crude joke. And it wasn't just a cousin defending a cousin, it was different, preoccupied. And lately, with the wedding planning, they've been spending more time together. Logistics, you know. But there's a look sometimes. A lingering glance. A shared laugh that cuts you out. My mind reeled, trying to sift through years of interactions. Jamie was right. Sean and Rose had always had a close relationship, as cousins often do. They grew up together, went to the same family picnics, shared holiday dinners. I'd always found it endearing, a testament to Sean's strong family ties. Rose was a quiet presence, often fading into the background, but Sean always made sure to include her. Was it truly different? Had I just been blind? I thought of last week when we were at Sean's parents' house, discussing seating arrangements. Rose had been sketching ideas on a napkin, and Sean had leaned over her shoulder, their heads close, his arm brushing hers. I hadn't thought anything of it then. It was just Sean being helpful, Rose being Rose. Now Jamie's words painted a different picture. A sinister undertone to a perfectly innocent scene. "You're imagining things," I finally said, though the conviction wasn't there. It was a desperate attempt to swat away the gnawing fear that was starting to take root. "You've always had it in for Rose. You're letting your old biases cloud your judgment." Jamie met my gaze directly, her eyes unwavering. "Maybe. Or maybe I'm seeing what you're too close to see. Maybe I'm not blinded by love and wedding jitters. Look, Irene, I'm not saying he's cheating. Not yet. I'm just saying, pay attention. Notice the details. The way their eyes meet, the hushed conversations. The way they always seem to end up in the same corner of a room." She picked up her own mug, already cold, and took a deliberate sip. "It's your wedding, Irene, your future. You deserve to walk into it with your eyes wide open. Don't say I didn't warn you." I left the coffee shop in a daze, the gentle hum of the city replaced by the frantic beating of my own heart. The world, which moments ago had been vibrant with the promise of my impending marriage, now seemed muted, tainted. Every passing couple, every shared glance, every subtle touch now held a sinister possibility. The first person I saw when I got home was Sean. He was in the living room, sprawled on the couch, engrossed in a football game. He looked up, his face breaking into that familiar, heartwarming smile. "Hey babe, back already? Did Jamie give you the full rundown on the bridesmaid dress drama?" His innocence, his genuine warmth, almost made me laugh at the absurdity of Jamie's accusation. This was Sean, my Sean. There was no way. And yet, I found myself scanning his face, searching for any telltale sign, any flicker of guilt in his eyes. His smile didn't waver. His gaze was open, loving. My chest tightened with a confusing mix of relief and a strange, unfamiliar sense of paranoia. Later that evening, the seed Jamie had planted began to sprout. We were at Sean's parents' for their weekly dinner. Rose was there, of course, helping Sean's mom in the kitchen. As I walked in, I saw Sean leaning against the counter, chatting with Rose as she chopped vegetables. Their conversation was low, punctuated by soft chuckles. Nothing overtly suspicious, just two cousins, comfortable in each other's presence. But then Rose looked up, catching my eye, and her smile seemed to falter for a fleeting second before brightening. Sean, noticing me, straightened up, his arm briefly brushing Rose's back as he moved towards me. My mind, now a super-sensitive radar, picked up on every detail. The way Rose's fingers lingered on the knife handle after Sean moved away, the way Sean's eyes darted back to her for a split second, before focusing entirely on me. Was I imagining it? Was Jamie's warning distorting everything I saw? Over dinner, I watched them like a hawk, trying to be subtle, trying to seem normal. Sean, oblivious, talked about his work project. Rose, usually quiet, contributed a few times, always directing her comments generally, never specifically at Sean. But I saw it. The way their knees almost touched under the table. The way Sean reached for the salt shaker at the exact moment Rose did, their fingers brushing. A casual touch. A familial touch. Or something. My stomach churned with a nauseating mix of accusation and self-loathing. I was becoming Jamie, seeing shadows where there might only be light. I was betraying Sean, allowing absurd suspicions to poison our trust. But how could I unsee what I was now seeing, or rather, perceiving? The casualness had been weaponized. Every shared glance, Every innocent gesture was now suspect. The line between harmless interaction and hidden intimacy blurred into an agonizing haze. The wedding, once a beacon of pure joy, now loomed like a ticking time bomb. I wanted to confront Sean, to laugh in Jamie's face, to dismiss the entire nightmare, but a cold, creeping fear held me back. Jamie hadn't given me concrete evidence. No smoking gun. Just a whisper. A suggestion. A directive to keep an eye. And now I couldn't stop. I was watching, and every casual interaction, every friendly gesture between my fiancé and my bridesmaid, was now a potential clue in a mystery I desperately hoped wasn't real. The silence I had held in the coffee shop was gone, replaced by a deafening internal scream. Jamie had opened a door, and now I was forced to walk through it, into a dark, uncertain hallway, with the most important day of my life waiting at the end. Nevertheless, a few days later I found myself unable to shake off the weight of Jamie's warning. It wasn't just the words she used, the coldness in her tone, the way she avoided my eyes when she spoke, but the undercurrent of something unsaid, lurking just beneath the surface. I wanted to confront her again, to pry out the truth, but every time I tried, she clammed up, insisting she didn't know anything concrete, that it was just a gut feeling. Yet I couldn't help but suspect that the story was more tangled, more painful than she let on. Jamie has always been complicated. My childhood friend, the sister I never had, but also the thorn that's been lodged under my skin for years. There's no denying that she has hated Rose, Sean's first cousin, ever since the day Rose stepped into our lives, charming everyone with that effortless grace while Jamie simmered in silence. I could see the jealousy writ large across Jamie's forehead every time Rose laughed with Sean, every time their shared history surfaced, pulling Jamie further away. It didn't help that Jamie wasn't just jealous of Rose, she was jealous of me. When Sean and I first announced our engagement, I was surprised and hurt to find that Jamie wasn't thrilled. She refused to meet my eyes and later confessed, in a rare moment of frankness, how she felt like she was losing the place she'd always imagined holding. Part of the future I was weaving with Sean, a place she believed was rightfully hers. Our friendship, it seemed, was quietly unraveling, fraying at the edges with the arrival of a new chapter I was penning without her. The day I uninvited her from the wedding was one of the hardest decisions I ever made. It wasn't about Rose or any petty rivalry, at least not entirely. It was about trust. It was about the whispered rumors that had begun to follow my engagement announcement. I heard voices carried on the wind that suggested Jamie was spreading uncomfortable stories, not just about Rose or me, but about Sean and our relationship. I couldn't afford lies to overshadow what should be the happiest day of my life. When I told Jamie she wasn't invited, her expression twisted with shock and something else. Grief? Betrayal? I don't know. She left without a word, but that night, 1,000 memories of shared birthdays, late-night talks, and secret childhood promises washed over me, turning the victory into a bittersweet loss. It was when I tried to talk to Jamie again that she said the words that sent a shiver down my spine. I don't know what happened, Irene. I just feel it in my gut. That gut feeling, I realized reluctantly, was less about foreknowledge and more about her simmering hatred. Jamie wasn't protecting me. She was pushing me away, and her jealousy was curled beneath her words like a sleeping snake ready to strike. Then, one evening, a week before the wedding, I returned to my apartment after a long day of preparations to find an anonymous note slipped under my door. It read, "Watch him, Irene. Rose's family isn't what you think. Sean and Rose, there's more there than they let on." My heart pounded. Was this true? Or just another ploy to destabilize me? I didn't want to believe Jamie could stoop this low, but the shadow of doubt began seeping into the fabric of my happiness. I picked up my phone and called Sean. His voice over the line was warm and reassuring, but I pressed him, gently, cautiously, until finally he sighed and confessed that Rose had indeed been a constant presence during their youthful years. That much was true, but there was nothing sinister in their relationship. Just a deep connection born of family and shared history. But as I hung up the phone, I felt an ache deepen in my chest. Trust, once broken, isn't easily repaired. The night before the wedding, I faced Jamie one last time. She stood silently outside the church, rain drizzling softly, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. I stepped closer. "Jamie, why?" I asked softly. "Why do you want to hurt me like this?" She didn't answer immediately. Then her voice cracked as she whispered, "Because I'm scared. Scared of losing you, of being left behind once everything changes." In that fragile moment, I glimpsed the shattered girl hiding beneath the bitterness. "I'm sorry it had to be like this," I said, reaching out. But Jamie stepped back, shaking her head. "No, Irene, you built your life without me. Maybe I deserved to be left behind." And just like that, she disappeared into the night, leaving me to face the dawn of a new beginning, one without her shadow haunting my steps. The next day, beneath the arch of blooming roses and the watchful gaze of the friends and family who truly meant something, I married Sean. Rose stood quietly by his side, a cousin who had proven herself loyal and kind. Jamie was nowhere to be seen. That day, I realized something. Sometimes, the toughest wounds come from the people we love most. But in healing, we find a stronger self, one capable of embracing change, forgiving the past, and looking forward to a hopeful future.